Welcome to the What Is Your Why podcast. I am Ken Fox along with Timothy Biggins. The What Is Your Why podcast is brought to you from the United States of America, and the content there within is protected under the First Amendment. The whole purpose for creating the What Is Your Why podcast was to shed light on talented people and their missions, their drive, and their goals. I wanted to uncover their reasons for doing what they believe in and why they continue to do it. I'm going to start my questions off with Timothy Biggins. Timothy Biggins, where did the name come from?
Actually, when I first started rapping, I was Dubs White.
Yeah.
As some people may still know, but I was working with a guy at a place, and it was when the Chappelle Show was starting to take off. So my name literally comes from Tyrone Biggins.
Okay.
Which not a lot of people know. Like, I'm putting it out there, though, officially, man. This kid walked up to me and was like, Timothy Biggins. And I was like, what? That sounds so cool, man. And I just ran with it. And even since I started even making songs as Dubs White, before I changed my name, I was using Biggins all over the place just because, like.
Okay.
But it's a little bit rooted in the fact that, like, Biggie had 3 different names, too.
Right.
He's, like, a big inspiration to me. He was, like, the Notorious B.I.G., Biggie Smalls, Frank White, like.
Yep.
So it's a little bit like that, man. It started as a nickname, and then I just wanted to make a switch at one point. I just decided to move on to that and leave Dubs White behind,
I was there for that process.
Yeah. Actually, you were instrumental in it,
All right, so that wasn't a real question, but I'm glad that you did answer that. I'm glad that I asked. But the first question I have is, have you ever had food poisoning? And from what?
Why? What is the why to your question right now?
I want to loosen everybody up. Like anybody that we're gonna end up talking to, that we got to get them vulnerable first.
It works.
Yes.
I'm
so
feeling
humor
extremely
is
vulnerable right now, man. No, but of course, I'm a human being.
Yeah.
I'm sure I had it countless times as a child.
Yeah.
But I do remember one time specifically that I caught some food poisoning from McDonald's.
Okay.
A week before I had to drive to South Carolina. I was moving to South Carolina.
Yeah.
And I got a chicken bacon ranch from McDonald's, man, and something wasn't right. I was pretty messed up for a couple days, and just barely had recovered in time to take that drive to South Carolina. So yeah, like I remember living off of toast and tea for like 2 days, man. Like, and then having to take a 20-some-hour ride to move with all my shit.
It's the worst, man.
Yeah. So yeah, I've had food poisoning, man. I would like to know if we ever have a guest that hasn't.
Yeah.
Because then we're gonna submit them for scientific testing.
That would be a good question. Yeah. Maybe we'll ask everybody that. All right. This is a personal favorite of mine, and it's the way that my mind thinks. So people will see me laughing and be like, "Why are you laughing?" And there's nobody talking, no jokes around, but it's just something that I think about. So my question is, if you can convince anyone that you know to do something that you know they've never done, and the outcome would be like hilarious or out of their comfort zone, and make them do it, what would it be?
Are you asking if I would rob somebody of your free will for my own entertainment?
Well, pretty much. Like, if if there was a way that John never sold cars before, and you had to make him cover for you that day, sell cars, just do something completely different and wild, and throw somebody out of their comfort zone.
You know what? You gave me a perfect example for what I would pick, though, because a lot of people think rapping is easy.
Yeah.
Like, anyone can do this, anyone can do that.
Yeah.
Come do it for a day.
Yeah.
If you've never rapped before, come rap as good as me or whatever. I don't give a fuck, bro. Like,
but like a random person, like somebody can't rap, somebody that would be completely, utterly embarrassed, like just want to hide in a hole before they did that. You know what I mean?
Well, I prefer it's somebody that does, garnish that opinion to me first. If they're like, or they even want to talk shit about it, that it doesn't take certain talent or whatever, like that's my biggest thing sometimes, man, But aside from that, man, no, I don't. I don't really think like that. I'm not one of those dudes. I know I came up in the jackass generation, and we're coming up on April Fool's Day.
True.
Real close, but not like. I
Very
think
true.
that everyone is so different that, of course, there's gonna be things that you could do that to people with, but I wouldn't want to be done to me. So
Yeah.
nothing crazy, man. I really just have an issue with naysayers and shit, and like a lot of people do try to like diminish the work and the talent or whatever that goes into any kind of making music, like a lot of people think it's the easy way out.
Absolutely.
I dare you to do it, man.
Yeah.
That's
so true, man. First song you ever recorded?
Man. I'd gone away to college in 2001. I graduated in 2001, and then in like the springtime of 2002, I was home for a visit, and I had started writing through these like online message boards and stuff like that. I was getting feedback from people, and I really wanted to take the step to recording a song and entering the audio section of that bulletin board online, and I met up with a kid I went to high school with who said he could record me. How that goes though, and the first thing I ever recorded was a little crappy verse I wrote to Biggie's Dead Wrong beat.
Okay.
Actually, it was terrible though.
That was the Eminem production, right?
Yeah, the one Eminem was on. Yeah, he might have made the beat.
Yeah,
too,
he did.
Yeah. Yeah, it was terrible. And you'll probably have to pay a lot of money to ever have that hit the light of day. Man, it still exists.
Yeah.
I don't want to be bragging about that for all the hackers out there, but yeah, that was it. That was definitely the first thing I ever recorded, but it was nice, man.
Yeah.
Because you got to start somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah, my first recordings were literally done with a boombox that my friend John had. John initiated everything with me, but he had a boombox. We plugged the microphone into the top of that boombox, nice. And then played on a separate stereo a cassette tape with a beat and recorded them simultaneously.
So it's the old karaoke machine style. Yeah. Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, I guess if we're going back that far, though, I did sing Boys to Men into a Talk Boy once.
Okay.
And that's when I realized I should rap. I was 12.
Those pipes, yeah. First album that affected you, like emotionally, like you heard it and you felt something.
Wow.
And I know that's probably going back because most people that do music, I think it takes like a musician or to feel music a certain way. I don't think everybody is affected or feels music the same exact way.
I know what you're saying. There's obviously something early on that draws you to it and draws you to it in a different way.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, I would like to thank my mother for making me listen to so much country music. And she was always like, listen to the words. No, you got to listen to the word. Like, she was always big about it, man.
Yeah.
And I remember she was like, she fostered that early though, man. Because around like, 4th, 5th grade, you start kind of getting into your own music. You're like 9, 10, 11 years old. And it started with just seeing some videos. But album wise, man, there was like Aerosmith's Big Ones was out around that time. Yeah. And even before that, Meatloaf's Bad Outta Hell 2. Like shit, stuff that you'd never think would be the first album to have an effect on me. But then, right around that time was also Doggy Style by Snoop and Ready to Die by Biggie. Like that, those 4 albums in a 2-year period probably shaped almost everything.
Wow.
If you really like look back, man. Like just the drasticness of the bigness of, Meatloaf. Like no one even thinks Meatloaf's cool or whatever, but it was like
my buddy Matt loves him.
It was big stuff, man. It was like and that Aerosmith album, man, that was the one with the Cowwaters on it. Had all the videos with Alicia Silverstone and Liv Tyler in them and stuff, So as a young man coming into adolescence, they were lovely, bro.
Yeah.
So yeah, those are my 4. I know I should narrow it down to 1, but
yeah,
those are my 4 probably biggest, man. For that age at least.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny, like when you hear those, like the first song or first album, and like you are like growing into like experiencing emotions for the first time.
Yeah.
Like you hear that first song or record or whatever, and it's just like, damn, I never felt this before. This is interesting or whatever,
Yeah, I
So-
think that is part of it. I never really thought about it, but it is as you're developing those senses in yourself
Mhm.
that you start to identify with it. I don't know what drew me to, actually, Meatloaf being a big dude is part of it, and Biggie being a big dude. They were like positive role models for someone that, when you're a little chubby kid, man,
Right.
Everyone wants you to feel bad about yourself.
Yeah.
And then there's these dudes doing great things, and eventually like Chris Farley comes along, like stuff like that. Like they're people that have a good time, and like they attract people, and like they're big personalities, and people love them, and there's still the thing that every other kid in school was making me think wasn't special about
Right.
me, So
Right, yeah.
there's a part of it that is rooted in that too, man. Like just seeing like the fact that people could be appreciated for who they were by
Right.
bearing their soul.
Mhm.
It's literally the most who you are you can be.
Yeah, absolutely.
Bearing your soul
Yeah.
on music, man. So it's finding a way for people to love your inside, man, is where it started, But
That's so true, man. Yeah.
yeah, man,
definitely.
I didn't know we were gonna be digging this stuff out, man. You got a couch?
I wish.
You got a couch? I can just kick my
I
feet
do.
up on.
I just didn't want to wheel the whole rig out there.
Tell you how it makes me feel.
Ballpark, because I don't know that you'll have a actual number, because I don't. But how many songs have you written?
We've actually, me, A, and K, who are in my rap group with me,
Right.
have discussed this as a group. There's over 1,000s, but personally, I really might be in the couple hundred range easily.
Okay.
And maybe, when you rap, it's not always songs, though.
Right.
There's a lot of like one verse, two verse, kind of like freestyle
Things just
tracks or
lingering.
whatever.
Right.
Yeah. But I've been at this, man, I'm 35 now, so I've been recording songs since I was 18 years old, man.
Right.
So that's 17 years. There's got to be a good 350 to 500 alone. But it really might be a little higher than that. But yeah, I don't have an exact number.
Yeah.
You're absolutely correct.
Yeah. Yeah. I've thought about it. I probably thought about it 5 years ago. I can't. I don't know. It's not that many, but I definitely don't know the number. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, I mean, you actually have a bigger task at hand because you write the whole song, man. You're
Right.
writing the music, you're writing all 3 verses or all 2 verses, the hooks. Like some of my songs I'm counting is just a 16-bar verse I put on somebody's thing. So my numbers might be a little diluted, But looking at album-wise, man, if it's just official stuff, I might only be in the 100 to 150
Right.
range, But
Yeah.
there's a lot of stuff, man.
Yeah.
A lot of years of bad stuff. Dude.
Yeah, but that's how you get good though.
Yeah.
It's the bad stuff. You know what I mean? You gotta love the bad stuff. Just like I'm on this new thing of like suffering. I need to suffer first thing every day.
It's beautiful, right?
It is great. I jump in the shower. Half of my shower now is cold. You know what I mean?
Oh wow, you're purposely
Yeah. No, I'm being 100%. When I first started this, I would do like 30 seconds in the shower, and then I'd just turn it ice cold, and then I'd curse everything. You know what I mean? And I'd jump out, and I'd go off and do my day. But more recently, I built up to like where it's half of my shower.
It's just ice cold.
It hurts. Yeah, it's ice cold. It hurts. It sucks, and I love it because it's the first step to me having like a productive day. Or being able to handle shit that comes at me, is suffering. I've already faced something that sucked.
Yeah,
you know
it's
what I mean?
terrible. Yeah, everything's like gravy after
Yeah.
that, man, right? Like,
Yeah.
Isn't it weird, though, that something so cold, like it burns, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it
Isn't
takes
it-
your breath
that's
away.
odd.
Shocks your breath away.
It's odd to me that cold can burn. I know this is completely like off the,
Yeah.
but I've had this realization lately with windburn, bro. I'm like, why does it burn? It's not, it's cold. It's the opposite of burn, you know? But yeah, man, I do the same thing, only it's much unhealthier, I think. I'm not purposely just giving myself cold water in the shower in a safe environment. I'm actively making decisions to destroy my life a lot of times, man, just to have some songs to write, I think. Yeah. That's not the process at the time, but then you get through some shit and you're just like, I guess I gotta write a song about it now, you
Yeah.
know? And I don't, I think that as an artist, man, I saw a good quote recently. I forget who it was, man. Actually, the Tennessee Williams story, man. I heard about this, how like once he got rich, he couldn't write shit anymore, man.
Right.
Like, and as an artist, you almost need pain. And I think like success eventually will kill it. So I think there's an extent where we do suffer.
I think fame will kill it too. I've always been afraid of like, if I won the lottery, would I have, not that you wouldn't have the drive, you would have the drive, but you would have more people around you.
Oh yeah, for sure.
You would have more people, and I don't care if it's a security detail or if family members.
Suddenly
or
you got a manager that wants 10%.
You got a manager.
Yeah.
You got managers, security managers, like the whole nine, and it's not the suffering part that you would have to worry about making great music. It would be like, would you have the desire? Really, would you have the desire to? Like, because who would you be trying to? And me and you have discussed writing music and like writing music with a purpose. Like it's about like specific people or things or whatever the subject is. But would you still care about that enough?
I don't know, man. I think that's why there's such active self-sabotage on my part sometimes, man. Whereas in this current incarnation of our life, like of our careers even, this phase, we are suffering for the music.
Right.
But I think the coin flips. And I think that some people find success or find fame or, even just being rich or whatever it is, man. And the music suffers when you stop.
Yeah.
So it's almost, it becomes this like symbiotic relationship, man. Like where both things have to suffer, both things have to be nourished to grow, and
balance.
One can't take the place of the other. It's part of you, man. So it's almost like you're the other half of your yin and your yang inside of you, man. Like that creative force.
Yeah. And
it becomes your purpose. And I mean, what becomes a greater part of your personality than your drive? Like what you're driven to do. So it's such a weird dynamic, man.
Yeah.
But I don't know success.
Yeah.
I've been rapping for 17 years and failing. So it's like, well, not even failing, because there's little victories. There's things that you do and you feel like, you gain a value from it, even if it's something that isn't outwardly visible.
Right.
Like
right.
At this point, you could mix a song in a half hour, but people aren't paying you for that half hour.
Right.
They're paying you for the 15 years you spend learning how to mix songs.
They're paying me for my taste. Right.
Yeah. So
exactly.
It's weird, man. But that's why we're here having this conversation, though. And I think that's why this conversation takes place between artists on a near constant basis.
Right.
For sure.
Absolutely. I agree. This is an interesting one. Name a song you wish you would have written.
This is a good. I don't know if there's one song, but I'm familiar with this feeling. Because there's songs that I'll hear for the first time, and that feeling that when I first started writing, I knew that there was something I could relate to that wasn't out there. If I wrote to it, suddenly I could relate to it a little bit better.
Yeah.
In the hip hop world, it is different from somebody who grew up in a rural surrounding.
Right.
So although I did love those artists, I did love the rebelliousness of it, and like them pushing the boundaries that protected freedom of speech and stuff through the 90s, man. It's incredible what hip hop has done.
I just learned about freedom of speech today.
I'm familiar, man, because they try to hit me with it every day, man. You can't say that. No, I can. You just, got to deal with it in your own way. But yeah, there was eventually in my, sometime in my 20s, man, there started to be artists popping up that were writing the songs that I knew I should have been writing. Like LP had some stuff. Like the LP's I'll Sleep When You're Dead album, that whole thing. Right. From the intro to the outro, man, like there's some Cage stuff. Like I Never Knew You, like that, There's some songs that tap into that emotion that like it's amazing another person can so simply describe such a complex feeling.
Yeah.
That it just applies to you immediately. And that started popping up, man. But yeah, I don't think there's one specific song, you know, but it is, you know, LP and Cage for a minute were suddenly saying some stuff that I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
These guys are saying the things I wanted to say.
Yeah.
And I still like look up to both of them a lot, man. I think they're both incredible artists. But, you know, there's things that they do and whatever, you know, I don't relate to in the same way. So it's not like it's complete, but there's definitely a few songs in both of their catalogs, man, that make me feel that way for sure.
And they're both great songwriters. So, I mean, obviously, that's probably why they linked up to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever turned down an opportunity for music deals, whether it was record deals or collaboration?
Oh, yeah, of course.
Okay.
Easily, man.
And have you seen like any of these like deals that like these record deals that are like now available on Instagram via like promos and stuff like that? Those shits are funny.
Oh yeah, yeah. I've never been approached on one of those, man, at all. But you know, everyone's got something for you on social media, man. And I'm quick to kind of be like, no, this isn't about me. You know, you're some Gary V told you to offer value,
right?
And now you're out here, I got a deal for you. No, if it was a deal for me, it would have been in a private message, not on my comments, so all my followers see it, you fucking dick. Sorry, I don't know if we're not allowed to swear.
No, you're good.
If you got to beep that or whatever.
We are protected by the First Amendment, which I learned today.
Dude, so. I've been chastised so much for cursing that it's just, you know. But, yeah, dude, honestly, man, we had a conversation when we started working on our EP together in the fall or whatever about working with local people.
Right.
And I put myself out there, man, because I've been rapping around these people forever.
Yeah.
You know, so, but I was always waiting to be approached.
Right.
Because that's how MCs work sometimes. We're a little narcissists stuck in our self-conscious, like, insecure bubble. Like, it's such a weird thing, man. But yeah, like, so I started reaching out to people.
Mm-hmm. And
some things fall through. You know, some things don't work the way you want, and you're like, nope, this isn't right for me. And you have to say no, you know, you just have to. And there's a minute where I was kind of beating myself up about this kind of stuff, man, where it's just, did I say no when I should have said yes?
Right.
You know, and like, because when you have less, when you need to gain more ground, you don't have the power to say no as much as you think you do.
Right.
You know, but I did learn that you do. You still, who cares what the consequence is? You know, sometimes you got to say no to stuff. And actually, Tech 9 was coming through the Sherman in the fall.
Okay.
And
now, didn't you open for him or you turned down that show?
I had opened for some other name acts in the past or whatever, so that's why we hit the Sherman up about this. And I'm playing with my band Nuggets versus Blazers.
Okay.
And
when is that?
Nuggets versus Blazers?
No, when?
Oh, when? That was in like the fall sometime, man. It was like October, I forget.
Okay.
But we saw that Tech 9 was playing the Sherman. So I had emailed the Sherman. I explained that we're a hip hop band, you know, that we got an edge I think would work with his stuff almost, you know?
Yeah.
These people at the Sherman, they want, it's not just them, so it's not fair to really like blast them like that because it is a good venue and stuff. But a lot of times when you're coming up, you got to do the pay to play thing.
Right.
Where it's like, oh, well, you got to sell this many tickets.
Yeah.
And that's fine. If I got to sell 10, 20 tickets to get people to come, and that's awesome because I want them to come anyway. But this particular place wanted to have a show that you had to sell tickets for, and it was like a battle of the bands for the opening slots. And it was only 2 weeks before the actual show.
So it wasn't really a show. It was a...
Yeah, it was still... we had to sell tickets for it, though.
Yes.
So it still would have been a show. They were trying to milk 2 shows out of it.
Yeah. Yep.
And we would have had to sell 2 sets of tickets 2 weeks apart in the same venue. Like,
come
hey,
see me battle
see
and
me
then
twice?
come see me if I win.
Yeah, and then they always have that bare minimum of tickets you have to sell.
Right, yep.
And it didn't seem like the right thing for us at the time because for that project, we don't have studio recordings yet. We're still kind of doing the live thing more than anything, you know? So we just didn't think we were ready to make that kind of commitment to even have to take that loss on those tickets.
Yeah.
You know, so we did have to say no. And that's another one that, you know, in the short term, you start beating yourself up about it.
Right.
You know, oh man, am I gonna regret this?
Yeah.
And I don't know about that one yet.
Yeah.
You know, but at the same time, man, like things do happen for a reason, man, and like you can't accept that blindly all the time.
No, you
but
can't.
You got to still make the most of it, and then if that type of thing is in my path, it's gonna be there again.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm doing work that's worthy of doing that kind of opening act or ascending to a main act somewhere, then it's gonna happen. It's gonna show.
Yeah.
So it's not like the end of the world.
No, definitely not. There's always opportunities. This is a more serious question, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But have you ever been disappointed in your own music, or was there a period of time where you were disappointed in it, or an album, or you know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel like you should almost ask: is there ever a time that you're actually satisfied with it? That would be the easier answer, because I think that, well, for sure, there's at least the first half of my career is terrible. Anything I made in retrospect is terrible, but it was necessary. So, but in the moment, sometimes I would think it was good, because sometimes you do a song and it's better than the last.
Right. Yep.
So you're like, oh, I'm making progress.
Yeah.
But then you start looking at things as a work, an album, a mixtape, an EP, or whatever. And the more mature you get and the better you get, the less satisfied I think you become too.
True.
You find that, if 20-year-old Tim made some of the songs that we just made on, our recent stuff,
yeah,
I think that he would love it. I would be like, oh my God, look at this thing I just made, But being who I am now, man, I still like, well, this could have been better. This could have been better. I could have re-recorded this. I could have written this better. I could have not procrastinated, because one of those songs I wrote the day that I had to turn in my vocals.
Yeah.
I don't know if I told you that, man. I'm like, I had 4 songs. I needed to give 5. Know what I'm like? So, and I had to write it on the spot, and it actually ended up being one of my favorite songs on the EP somehow, man. But that's also not always gonna work out in your favor, Like I got lucky, but yeah, I mean, I think there's always that constant state of dissatisfaction.
Yeah,
because I used to think that like, we're gonna get real heavy, man. When I was younger, I had this mortality complex almost. Like my purpose of life is to make this perfect album, or this one album to leave behind.
Yeah.
And luckily, I've never made that album.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I know, like, I'm thankful, and I'm also wondering if maybe that mind frame leaves me open to like, let's not die today.
Yeah.
Let's fuck up a little bit, so I could still need to make another album. Like, let's do it.
I shared similar, beliefs myself, man.
I mean, it's part of growing up paying attention to music, though.
Right.
Rock stars live fast and die young, man.
Yeah,
and it's
absolutely.
no different in hip hop.
Not at all.
So being a 35-year-old man now, looking back at some of these ways of thinking, it's a little crazy, man.
I was scared to death to get through the last part of my 20s. I didn't hit a bar until I was 27. I don't know if you ever knew that, but I never went to a bar. Never walked into a bar when I was 27 years old. But I was so fearful of death, and I could say this now. I thought I was going to catch that 28 club. 27 club, you know what I mean? I thought that's the path I was on. I was making, music that, was so emotional, reflected like all these emotions that, life is much different, now, you know what I mean? And as you get older, you learn to, navigate through things.
Yeah, you learn to deal with them. And I also think the potency of the emotion gets diluted over time.
Yeah. Yeah, the more you see, the more you adjust. You know what I mean?
Exactly. So, like, something that was a big deal, it only happened to you for the first time when you're 16, like heartbreak.
Yeah.
Your first girlfriend breaks your heart when you're a teenager. The end of the world. Man. Like, that's where Romeo and Juliet, the story came from.
Yeah.
They were 16 and 14 or something, man. But
yeah,
it's the most romantic story of all time, right? But it's really the potency of that feeling in such a short period of time, man. So as you get older, some of that stuff seems less drastic. But I was in the same shit, man.
It becomes watershed, right? Yeah.
Only it wasn't the 27 club. I didn't think I was going to make it past 25.
Yeah.
Because Biggie didn't.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's
and I was
weird.
a huge Kurt Cobain, not Kurt Cobain, but Nirvana fan, But I mean, and then you looked at Jimi Hendrix, Janis Joplin, all those guys.
Because that stacks up.
Holy shit,
Yeah, for sure,
like,
man.
Damn, man, it's got your head on a swivel when you're walking out of the door. So when I hit 30, I was just like, yo, I made it. I have achieved something. You know what I mean?
I'm a music industry senior citizen.
Yeah.
Maybe that age, when you're like 11 and 12, you're aware I'm going to be a teenager.
Yeah, you watched it on MTV. Like I remember seeing, my friend Jeremy. I remember we were at his house, me, him, and John. Mm-hmm. We were always recording music and stuff. And Jeremy came running upstairs or whatever, and he kicked the door open, and he's like, "Yo, you're not going to believe this." And he's like, "Biggie died."
No,
and I thought he was kidding. You know what I mean? But it was like the same thing, man. It's surreal, but it also gives you a sense of mortality, even when you're that young.
Well, yeah, and it's a weird time because that's when you are starting to become cognizant of it, mm-hmm. of life not being forever.
Yeah,
that's why we always want to go back to childhood because
mm-hmm.
we're not aware of those things.
Yeah,
we're not aware of going to work every day and paying bills for a whole life for nothing.
Yeah.
So, that, and those are our heroes at that point, man, because we start, you start forming your own identity, watching MTV.
Absolutely.
This generation doesn't know shit about watching MTV all day.
YouTube, but.
Yeah, YouTube is where it's at now, man, I guess. Lazy Sundays is on YouTube, too, by the way.
Yes. That's hashtag Lazy Sundays, LAZY Sundays. Yeah. And that's on YouTube. And you guys are dropping new music every single week, every Sunday, right?
Every Sunday for the whole year, man. Sorry for the shameless plug, but,
No, the plugs are welcome here.
I see with all the wires.
Yeah, exactly.
Just plugging shit in left and right.
We got a plethora of wires, plugs.
Plethora, man. I love SAT words.
I got a couple more questions for you, but what do you have planned musically? We talked about the Lazy Sundays. Mm-hmm. That's happening. That's a lot. Your workload, I feel, is like humongous right now.
It's insane. We had no idea what stress this would entail, man. Mm-hmm. But we took a whole year to work on songs.
Right.
But we're still like, if we were to release everything we have, we're only good through like June.
Really?
Yeah, so
okay,
and on top of it, most people would have had, if you're on a label, mm-hmm. you get paid to have all this mixed and mastered at once. We're ordering our album art, we're ordering our mixing and mastering week to week, man. Right. So there's Saturdays that I don't even know if we're gonna have a song to go out, and somehow we've done it. This is our 13th week in a row now, man. Like, it's crazy. We're insane, to be quite honest, man. But to make it through 52 weeks. Mm-hmm. And in the climate we're in, man, it's not that we're trying to drop singles.
Right.
We're just putting out a song at a time.
It's just
because that's all people want, man. Yeah. They want something new every week anyway. So.
And was honestly, that the thinking behind it?
Yeah, and then say one hits, say one thing, and then suddenly all this other stuff is there. Mm-hmm. And all three of us had taken such a hiatus from music for a little while, like the last thing I'd done before we started doing this was like 2014, when we were working on the Quatch collection and stuff. But A and K both took their time off, and then it's like the stars aligned to have us all kind of come back into one place and be able to even start working again. And then we just figured we'd run with it, man. But that's not even all that's going on, on top of that, I have band practice on Fridays with Nuggets versus Blazers. We got we got a bass player and a drummer, Randy Hutchinson and Francis Timpone.
Yeah.
We play shows, and that's a whole nother animal. I'm taking songs that were hip hop and putting them into other versions. Yeah. My Trent Reznor Puff Daddy shit.
Yeah. More preparation, more everything, more time.
Yeah. And on top of that, I'm now in a nationwide group of MCs that I had met through a Facebook hip hop fan group.
Right.
We had done
the name of the group. Well,
it's called No More L's, but the group on Facebook that it came from was called Hip Hop Fans United, and they do monthly ciphers.
Okay.
Where there's like 3 or 4 beats get picked, and everybody submits like a little video of a 16 to it, and you get voted on and stuff. And after a while, I think some of those dudes started deciding it would be good to maybe organize and work on a mixtape or something. And now there's a good 10 to 12 members, man, you know, from all over the country. Some great MCs, man. Like I think it's good to work with people for that reason, though.
Right.
You know, you don't get lost in your own complacency sometimes, you know, but
have people around you pushing you too.
Yeah, exactly. And it's a good sounding board, man. It's good to have your circle full of musicians anyway. And I don't just have rappers, so it's good to have the all around kind of feedback. You know, if I was just living in the hip hop world, I might not be getting some of the more nuanced approach to my music that some people don't have the advantage to do. Even, you know, like I want to be different.
Yeah,
I don't want to be like everybody else. So
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So I mean, a lot of stuff, and then solo wise, man, I don't think I could really put anything out realistically till 2020 at this point. You know, I would like to start working on an album for myself.
Yeah.
But I want to ride this Lazy Sunday thing out for the year, you know, because there's some solo stuff mixed in there, you know, and even within Lazy Boy Records, I'm in groups that we pair off. Like if me and A are doing a song together, it's called the Number 10.
Right.
We're a group. If me and Kay are doing a song together, it's called Ben's Franklin, because that's our group name.
Yeah.
If all three of us are doing a track, it's called LBR. So it's really I'm spreading myself as thin as possible where I could still manage to be productive, I guess. You know, but
yeah, your output has been crazy. It's good. It's inspiring to see. I'm glad that you're still. I'll save that for the next question.
Oh,
but
yeah. Well, if you want to pop it, then man.
Yeah, and so the whole thing behind this podcast is to find out or to ask people what their why is. Like, what is the thing that you hold on to that drives you, like your trigger almost, you know what I mean? And I imagine most people that we talk to are gonna say they're gonna talk about their music career and stuff, things like that. But what is the reason why you're still making music? That you're still making music, and what is your you know what I mean? Why are you doing it?
Because I need to. Is the most simple answer. You know, when I was 18, man, my grandfather died. Okay. And I've told you before, but for anyone listening, he was a country singer, man.
Right.
Before I was even born, he was playing in bands and bars and pubs all across this whole area.
Yeah.
And he had a great voice, man. And when he passed away, we had looked into seeing if there was recordings. Because when someone's gone, man, that's that, and there weren't.
Yeah.
And he was like a big inspiration to me, man. Like, he was my idea of what a man even was sometimes. He was just such a good dude. Yep. It's weird to call your grandpa a dude, but he was a great man, and I don't think I would even have the interest in music if it weren't for coming from a fan. Like I said, my mom telling me to listen to the lyrics. Where did that come from?
Yeah.
Her dad probably, but through the years, as I got older and older, and you don't see the success you think you're going to find, man, I was 31, a couple years ago, I decided I was going to just chill for a minute. I wanted to see what real life was about, getting a different job that, required all my attention and trying to, go legit almost. It's almost like I'm a hustler and I got to go to the legal hustle. It's not illegal or legal when it comes to music, but it's fruitful or unfruitful.
Yeah.
Financially, according to the rest of the world.
Yeah.
And it didn't work, man. And there's a part of me that I became an angrier person without the outlet. I think I've gotten some criticism for my music because it is aggressive, man. There is anger in it, but it's emotion, man. If I didn't have that outlet, I was just a much angrier person, man. Yeah. From the way the world works, maybe it's just a chemical imbalance. Who knows? I don't know. It's just who I am, man. And the second that it all came crashing down, the most natural thing that I had was just writing. So, the late winter, early spring of was it 2016 now, man? Was it 17? It was 2017. I just started writing again, man. I was home. I'd lost almost everything from some decisions I made. Like I said, you know, the self-sabotage. You choose to literally drag yourself through hell to create heaven sometimes. Right. You know, like you want to create something so pure out of something so dirty sometimes, you know? And I painted myself into some corners, man. And there's no way out, period. I had to deal with what I had done. And the first thing I had to do was just bring the outlet back, whether the song's ever gone out or not, right. You know, whether I'd started putting them out. Because at first I didn't have anyone to mix or master. I didn't have beats I owned. So it was just to write.
Yeah.
And
then a little guy named CG came along.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, man, if it weren't for very few select people in my circle, I don't know if I would even be here today, man. Like, not to over dramatize it, because I know it's easy to do that, but there's just times when it's just like, what is the fucking point?
Yep.
You know, and at the end of the day, man, like, I wake up on Saturday mornings now, like, oh, we got to get this song out. You know, when I feel tight, when I feel tense, when I just want to, like, lose my shit, I put on a good beat, man. I write some shit, you know, or I'll listen to some stuff that already dealt with that emotion. So it's a need. I don't know the complete need. I don't know if it's a simple answer. And obviously it's not, or you wouldn't want to have a whole podcast about it.
Right. Yep.
It's a very complex thing, man.
Absolutely, yeah.
I think it's necessary for me as a human being, whatever it is in my makeup, to take things I don't understand and even put it out in a way that people probably don't understand either, unless they really, you know. That's why I still write stream of consciousness style too. Like, I don't do outlines. I don't plan my stuff. Like, I build verses like a Jenga tower, only upside down, I guess, because it goes from top to bottom. You know, like, every line depending on the one before it, every line depending on the one on after it. It happens, and it comes out without any say. And as long as I could still be that vessel for whatever is writing these songs, because I don't even like to take credit for it, man. It sounds absolutely delusional.
Yeah.
If you're saying this to a regular person, but the lack of thought sometimes that would literally go into something that seems thoughtful is amazing to me. But like I said, man, like, when you mix a song, it's taking you 30 minutes.
Right.
But how many years did it take to get to that point?
Right.
So in those moments where I feel guilty for the ease that some of this stuff comes out, and how good it comes out to me, you know, even though I'm still critical of it and stuff, but it's still, I'm amazed sometimes, man. I wonder what inside of me is writing this, because it just gets uncovered almost.
Yeah.
It's weird saying this out loud, especially with a microphone in front of your face.
Right. Yeah.
You know, and knowing that people hear this and be like, yeah, this dude's nuts.
Yeah.
But honestly, man, I think you need it if you're going to do this, if you're going to take this gamble.
Yeah.
Because there's choices you can't make when this is what you want to do.
Absolutely. Yeah.
There's how many people do we know that are artists that are starting families somehow successfully? You know, like, it's almost like you live in Neverland forever.
Yeah.
And do I want to be that 40-year-old Robin Williams Peter Pan, bro?
Right.
Yeah. Bet your ass I do. You know, you didn't think I was going that way with it, man, but bang-a-rang, motherfucker.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, I need it, man. And I know you get that to an extent, because we've talked to this point enough.
Absolutely, yeah.
But the why, and maybe it even comes down to significance or relevance.
Yeah. Because
when you go, no matter how big my grandfather was to us,
yeah,
he provided for a whole family. He had like fucking 9 kids, man.
Yeah.
You know, and every one of those kids had a couple kids. So how many grandkids did he have? You know, and he was what it all trickled down from.
Right.
Yeah. I'll never have that.
Yeah.
You know, but if I passed away tomorrow, there's hundreds of hours of stuff that my family will cringe while they're listening to it.
Yeah.
Now, how can he say this? The language, I don't care. It was me, because, you know, even in family gatherings, this is who I am. I'm talking that way anyway. We're adults now, you know?
Yeah.
So it's not like it's when I was 18, it was a bigger deal.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
like, how could you say these things? But I like to joke about it, man. Like, it's somehow it's what I want people to remember me by, but it's also what I don't want people to define me by. That's like
Right.
a really,
Absolutely.
that's a complicated line to walk on, man, because
It's surreal sometimes. I feel the same way. I feel that way about music in general because I feel like most people know me for music related things. But like if you knew how I grew up, if you knew who I was between the ages of 10 and 21 with, you know, certain people in my life and what they taught me and stuff like that. And, you know, everything from shooting guns to like you name it, you know what I mean? I have a lot of different interests. It's just like music is what I'm supposed to be doing, you know what I mean?
the supposed to be is funny, right?
Yeah.
It feels that way.
Mm-hmm.
But tell that to someone that doesn't get it.
Yeah.
You know, tell that to your parents that don't want to see you living in poverty anymore.
Yeah.
You know, that are tired. I know my parents are tired of being like, hey, you got $10?
Yeah.
You know, like, you know, it's not good, man. Like, and there's a lot of rappers, especially in hip hop, bro. You know, there's a lot of rappers out here, like, before they even make it, that's what they're doing, talking about
Absolutely.
riches. And, you know,
Most
even
of
if they're
them.
pretending to hustle to get it, whatever it is, man, like,
Most
no,
of them, yeah.
I'm telling you right now, I'm broke.
Mm-hmm.
Because I paid to make music. I'm not getting paid to do this.
Right.
When you get to a point and you want a certain quality, man, you are paying out your ass
Yeah.
to keep it alive, bro. And you know, because you got the equipment game going. You know,
Yeah.
I'm still rocking with my M-Box. You know, but I mean, if I had to deal with all the things you had to, I would probably be in the equipment game the same way, man. But I also wonder if that's why when people want to get into producing, you know, in the hip hop world or get into the engineering, I've always said, like, it's kind of messed up if I just start doing it myself because it's an insult to the people that have spent that 10, 15 years mastering it.
Yep.
You know, because when I see some kid rapping that has no business putting a verse on anything, bro.
Right.
You know, like, go work for Hallmark maybe.
Yeah.
But when I see that, it's an insult to me. In the years I put in, you know, like, what?
Yeah.
Come on, man. So, but I don't know if I'm just making that excuse even to not have to invest in certain equipment, to not have to step it up, you know, like, I'm just happy rapping. It could, who knows what it really is, man.
Yeah.
You know, the funny part is that I think a lot of us don't know our whys.
Yeah.
You know, like, until I think that certain people are more self-aware. And I think that it's a great quality for an artist, man.
Yeah.
And that's why we have it.
Yeah.
But not a lot of people are like us.
Yeah.
And not even artists, man. Like, you could tell when an artist isn't self-aware. And I'm not saying self-conscious.
Self-aware.
Self-aware. It's a big difference, man.
Absolutely.
It's really knowing what you're doing, knowing what your intent is, and knowing where you have to improve, man. I've seen some terrible MCs talking about the ingenuity of their artistry.
Yeah. I listen to terrible musicians all the time.
Oh, yeah, you live
reluctantly, you know.
How often they got open mic over there?
Oh man, way too often.
Man,
Way
we should
too
crash it when we're done with this.
Yeah.
I love it, especially here, man.
Yeah.
You know? I don't know if we're supposed to be shouting out our location like
Ah,
that.
that's an edit, brother. That's all right.
Especially in
Yeah. All right, so wrapping up that part. That concludes part 1 of episode 1. Check out part 2 of episode 1.